Hey guys, Jim Edwards here, along with,
Stu Smith.
and Stu decided he's going to be nature boy today and hang out in his backyard. Tell him why, Stu.
Well, I have no Verizon in my house, so I'm using this Zoom app and can do the same damn thing, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah,
If you want to do podcasting, you got to get the Zoom app on your phone and on your computer, and you
that is
can
true.
do whatever you want.
But
Man,
why don't you? I was looking for the thrilling, harrowing tale of why you don't have internet in the house. People might think, oh, did he not pay his bill?
Yeah. Well, we had a big storm the other day, and my neighbor swore she saw a funnel. So about 100 yards away from my house, it took out like 3 light poles and no houses, thank goodness. But yeah, we had no power and no internet.
When you say funnel, you don't mean like a marketing funnel. You mean like a tornado funnel.
Yes. And in Maryland, those things are pretty rare. So I don't even know the word tornado in Maryland. It's just like this little funnel cloud came down and whoop, ripped up some trees that landed on power lines.
And plucked me up and took me to meet Jesus, or Dorothy. So, okay. Well, we're glad you're okay, and we're glad that the dogs in the house and the roof are still in place. Today, we're going to be talking about something that, again, that isn't really under my craw, but it's something that is holding a whole lot of people back. So the title of today's episode is, It's Not What It Is, It's What It Does. And so recently we relaunched Funnel Scripts, and it's gone really, really well. And I did this giant Q&A webinar, and there were 1,000 questions I had to go through that came from the live webinar. And I got to tell you that at least 1 out of 5 questions about the Funnel Scripts was, will it work for my business? I'm an electrical contractor. Will this work? I sell dental services. I'm a chiropractor. I sell to bereaved parents. I sell to chicken farmers. I sell to pig ranchers. I sell to this and this and this. And everybody's like, will it work for me? And my response to all of them was, if your product satisfies a desire or solves a problem for a specific group of people, then Funnel Scripts will work for you. And I kept saying that over and over and over. And then I got an email. I got a thing in the help desk day before yesterday, or the girls did, and they asked me about it. And the person said, I sell physical products, and you don't have, and I'm a consultant that helps people sell physical products. And I don't see hardly any examples in there that talk about physical products. And my first response was F you, because there are examples in there. But then I wanted to be the mature person, and I realized that, again, this is somebody who's fixated on what the product is rather than what the product does. So we're going to do Sales Copy 101. Stu, do you tell people instructions on how to do push-ups and pull-ups?
Yes.
Okay. But by learning how to do more pull-ups and push-ups, what is the end result they hope to accomplish by getting better at running, rucking, pushing, and pulling, and doing sit-ups?
Well, meeting some form of standard for a future profession, and passing a fitness test in the military, law enforcement, firefighter.
Okay. So at that's a result. None of your books are entitled How to Do More Push-Ups with Stu Smith.
No.
It's what's the title of your first book?
Complete Guide to Navy SEAL Fitness.
Okay. And then there was a subtitle of like how to 12 weeks to buds.
12 weeks to buds, yeah.
Right. So what is the emotional payoff of that book that they're trying to get? What is the desire? What's the problem? List me off some of the problems and desires associated with that. I want to be Navy SEAL,
a lot of people, people want to be a Navy SEAL or an Army Ranger or FBI agent. Whatever that problem is or that goal is, I have a solution for them to reach that goal.
what's the emotion attached to wanting to be a Navy SEAL?
Oh, I would say patriotism,
Okay.
pride, challenge, right?
Okay.
And accomplishment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So extreme personal accomplishment, extreme pride, looking good in front of others, taking care of your country, all these things. So do you think it's what sells your books is the fact that they're learning how to do push-ups, or the fact that they want to be a Navy SEAL?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they want to be a Navy SEAL and learn everything that's part of that journey.
Right.
It has to be more than just one thing, so.
Right.
Yeah.
The point, though, is that you sell a solution to a problem.
Yes.
I want to be a Navy SEAL. I want to be able to get through buds, but I can only do 30 push-ups right now. I got to get in shape. The problem is I want this thing, but I'm not in shape. So you bridge that gap for people. You're not selling a push-up book. You're selling a Become an Elite Warrior as the end result book. Really.
Yes.
That's what you're selling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what you guys need to understand is that you're not selling a thing. You're not selling a software. You're not selling a coaching. You're not selling a book. You're not selling a physical product. You are selling a result, which typically that result is either solving a problem or satisfying a desire, or both. Solving a problem so someone can then satisfy a desire to reach a goal.
Yes.
That is what you are selling. You are not selling a freaking book. So, the result that you're selling is a solution to a problem, desire satisfaction, or hassle removal, roadblock removal. Okay. So I did my dog's over there snoring. I did a live session with a buddy of mine, a guy named Dave Lindenbaum, who's a coach for a real high-end 2 Comma Club mastermind. And the lady that we were working with sells tea. She sells loose leaf tea. Who cares? It's like, okay, what does the loose leaf tea? Well, it helps women to have a more healthy pregnancy. Well, that's still kind of really amorphous. What about a healthy pregnancy? Well, it helps them to have a stronger uterus. Okay, well, I mean, I don't think there are too many people searching for, I want a Kevlar coated uterus. Okay, so what else does it do? What problems does it solve? Well, it helps them get over morning sickness really fast.
There you go.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, let me tell you, you got 2 kids that you know of, right, Stu?
Yep.
Okay, so did your wife have a problem with morning sickness?
Yes.
And it was pretty unpleasant in the whole household, wasn't it? Because you felt bad for her.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing you could do.
And
but
so,
is there a product that would help?
Yes, there is an all-natural herbal tea that apparently, if you drink it 3 or 4 times a day, it will eliminate the symptoms of morning sickness. Now, would you have bought that tea for your wife during those 2 periods of morning sickness with your 2 kids?
Yes.
Would you have bought a bunch of it?
Probably.
Would you have worried too much about how much it cost as long as it worked?
No.
Exactly. Right. So now all of a sudden we've gone way beyond. It's not, hey, here's healthy pregnancy tea, to this tea eliminates the symptoms of morning sickness quickly and keeps them from coming back. We're not selling tea anymore. We're selling what?
Yeah, solution to morning sickness.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Now you can stack on other things like, it helping you to have a better, I don't know, uterus.
Yeah. A couple bullet forms there,
right.
Urinary tract infections. Yeah, you throw all that stuff.
Exactly. But the main thing that's being sold now is not tea, but a solution to the problem of morning sickness. totally, you're not thinking, wow, is this the same as Lipton tea? Is this? No, we're getting rid of morning sickness with, now here's the other part. Most women that have morning sickness, the doctors want them to take what? Starts with a D.
Some kind of
drug.
Dramamine?
No,
drugs.
drug.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Dramamine is a drug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
So now all of a sudden we can get rid of another problem too. So not only can we get rid of morning sickness, but we can get rid of the problem of being told you need to take dangerous drugs or harmful narcotics, right? So new miracle tea alleviates instantly, well, quickly eliminates the symptoms of morning sickness without dangerous drugs or harmful narcotics. So now we're eliminating other problems too with this, right? We can get rid of it, and we don't have to take drugs that could potentially harm the baby, which ultimately is what everybody's worried about. So we're stacking on the elimination of these problems, and of we don't want to hurt the baby, we don't want to take drugs, we want to avoid narcotics, and we want to get rid of morning sickness, and we can do that all with this new miracle tea.
I like that, because it's not what it is.
It's what it does.
I love that.
So you need to think about that. Now, let's go back to our fun example of the drill. All right, that's got a 1-inch chuck. That again, your chuck, it's a big deal, but to everyone else, nobody cares, except maybe Chuck's wife, who has morning sickness. So here's the thing. The drill. What is the thing that the drill does? You're not selling a drill. If you have extra long battery life in that drill, what does that mean, Stu? If you have a drill with extra long battery life, what does that mean?
You get more stuff done.
You can
without
get
having to charge.
Right. Now, what is the emotion or the problem attached to getting more stuff done?
The emotion?
Yeah.
I don't know. Guess I'm happy. I'm not frustrated that I got to wait 30 minutes to get started again and lose track and all that. Yeah.
Right.
Or have to buy another drill battery.
Right. Have you ever been in the middle of a project with a cordless drill or a cordless thing and had the friggin' battery give out so you couldn't finish your project?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a big problem. So now all of a sudden it's like avoid the pain and frustration of having an inferior battery go dead on you in the middle of a project. Keep your wife from getting upset with you because the honey-do list is not done. Get your list of projects done faster so you can spend more time with your kids on Saturday afternoon instead of limping along with a crappy drill with a crummy battery. All of a sudden, they're selling the solution not of a drill with a longer battery life. You're selling the solution of get back to having fun with your kids. Eliminate the problem of your wife being mad at you because you're not finishing the projects. Eliminate the frustration of standing around waiting for the freaking battery to charge or having to run to Home Depot to buy 100-foot extension cord and dig out the crappy old corded drill that you buried somewhere in the garage.
You know, my favorite line for this one is stop wasting time.
Yep.
You know, that's a great little bullet point. Stop wasting time.
Right. And when you start, one of the things that I'm working on, and I'll show you this, it's taking place on my whiteboard here. Let me turn on the lights. The batteries are dying. But thinking about it from, okay, it's not what it is, it's what it does, right? Which means it satisfies the desires and it solves problems. But then think about, now take that to the next level, all right? If you think about a problem that it solves, think about the emotion that's tied to solving that problem versus the emotion of not solving that problem. And all of a sudden, you've got this yin and yang 1-2 punch. So an example of like a gin at home kit, okay, creating gin at home. I actually have a friend of mine who sells a whole bunch of these kits on Amazon all the time. It's a DIY gift kit that shows people how to create their own flavored gins at home. Now, you might think, oh, it's a DIY gin kit. it solves the problem of, what are you going to give the person that has everything? All of a sudden, the problem that it solves is a unique, cool gift that you can give a friend. What's the emotion that's tied to that solution? Wow, I'm going to love to see my friend's face when I give them something that they think is totally cool and totally unexpected. That's a cool emotion, right? Because that's linked to love and being popular with your person, with your friend. Now think about the emotion of not solving this issue. Think about the emotion of giving someone the same old crappy gift. Maybe you give them a drill with a 1-inch chuck, all right?
Or a tie.
Or a tie.
A pair of socks.
Or a pair of socks, right? You're giving them the something that they've never, that everybody else gave them. And it's kind of like, oh, thanks. How are you going to feel when your friend looks at you and gives that forced smile of, oh, thanks, thank you, when they're really thinking, oh, shit, another tie? That's exactly what they're thinking. So if you really want to figure out why people buy your stuff, sit down and make a huge list of the desires that you satisfy and the problems that you solve that your product does. And if you can't come up with at least 3 or 4 desires that your product satisfies and 3 or 4 problems that it solves, either you suck or your product sucks, okay? Whatever it is. And then what you need to do is take each one of those desires and each one of those problems and figure out that the emotion that's tied to the satisfaction of that desire and the emotion that's tied to the solving of that problem, and then flip it. What is the emotion that's tied to not doing that? What is the emotion that's tied to not solving that? So let's take it full circle back to Stu and teaching these kids how to get ready for buds or something. What is the emotion that's tied to failing that PT test, Stu?
Whew. Yeah, it can be a depressing event for people, especially if these are type of kids that have never failed anything in their life. They're kind of hard go-getters, achievers, and that's tough.
I mean, didn't you tell me that when you have guys that if somebody fails buds, none of your guys, but other guys that come in that are not, that they fail out of buds, don't they put them on suicide watch for a couple of days?
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
So, let's dig into this for a minute. So you have put your whole being into getting ready for this PT test. And if you fail it, what's going to happen? How are you going to feel? You're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel like you let down your family. You're going to
your friends. I mean, think about all the people that you told that you're going to SEAL training, and then
right. How are they going to
make it? For the rest of your life? It's tough. I mean, it's a tough thing to deal with.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are the kind of emotional things. I know you don't do this because you tell me I get too salesy sometimes, but I mean, these are the things that you can weave into your, he's shedding a tear over it. Good God. Or is it just, there's some pollen going on there? It's like, shut up.
Fly.
But this is the level that you need to get to. This is the stuff you're selling. Yeah. This is what makes people buy, not a how to do more push-ups book. I mean, that's an article on the internet somewhere. That's some weird musclehead, chucklehead making a YouTube video. That's not what you're selling. You're selling how to get through buds. You're selling how to be the ultimate warrior. You're selling how to join a brotherhood that only a few thousand people have ever joined in the history of the United States Navy. You're selling protecting and serving your community as a police officer and being in shape to be able to save the lives of your comrades and stuff. That's what you're selling.
Yes.
So you guys need to understand that it's not what it is. You're not selling a tea bag. You're not selling a drill. You're not selling a blackhead removal kit. You're not selling a spatula that won't melt when you leave it in the frying pan. You're selling a beautiful complexion. You're selling the perfect birthday cake that little Timmy will remember for the rest of his life you're selling, I don't remember the other, you're selling the getting rid of morning sickness and being able to have a more peaceful pregnancy. So the kid pops out knowing how to play Chopin by the time he's 2 on a piano. That's what you're selling. You're not selling what it is. And this is the biggest mistake that people make. And I learned this when my very first sales job out of school, out of college, was I sold life insurance. But I learned real fast that I wasn't selling life insurance. I was selling love and peace of mind. If you love your kids, you'll make sure they're taken care of, and you'll have peace of mind that they will be taken care of. If you're newly married, you don't want to leave your wife high and dry and ready to go to the poorhouse, saddled with debt. You want to have the peace of mind that she's going to be provided for until she finds another husband. That's what you're selling. So what are your thoughts on all this, Stu? I've been thinking about this a lot.
No, I can see. I think this would be a great one to follow up with an article, and we'll post that in the Facebook page. We'll put into the description how to be a member of that Facebook page, by the way. Sales Copy and Content Managing Hacks group. Yeah, it's a copy and content marketing
hacks
podcast group. Yeah, something like that, right? Came close. What did I call it? Content marketing.
I think too much. Right. We need to get you back in the basement. This fresh air is obviously clouding your mind.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's a really neat group where we'll discuss this in more detail in an article that you can write, and of course this video. But my thought on it is, it makes me go back and rethink every product that I've ever put up on the internet describing what it is, right? And I was like, yeah, I've done that. Do I really describe what it does?
Right.
And I think that is a really good way to go back and test a minor change in your sales copy, and just a couple of bullet points in there on what it does. Add that in there and just see what happens. Give it a test.
Right. I think, and why I think people do that though is, and it's easier. I still struggle with it and have to be reminded myself. That's why I bring this up. When you're too close to your own product, you're like, when people ask you, what do? You say, I work out for a living. I work out and write about it for a living.
I do say that.
But that might not be the best thing to tell people, because you're telling people what it is, not what it does. I work out and refine workouts to continually help young people that want to serve their country and community in special operations, police, and firefighter, to help them get ready to serve mentally and physically at a high level quickly.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That's what it does.
Yes.
That also sounds cooler than saying I work out for a living and write about it.
True.
I'm not criticizing, because
no.
Hey, I write sales copy and create software to help other people do it too. That's what I do. But what that does is I help entrepreneurs just like you go from a blank screen to compelling content and money-making sales messages at the push of a button, no experience required. That's what it does, not what it is.
Right.
So we all just need to be more conscious of it. But when we're real close to it, we know how cool it is. So we just want to tell what it is because we know what it does. So we default to what it is.
Yes, that's a good point.
And we all do that. I'm not throwing stones or anything. I'm just trying to
guilty.
Help people understand what you should do instead.
Yeah. I think I get caught up in here's what you get, with the product, right? And it is what it is, right? And it's not, here's what you get if you do it.
Right.
Right. You get this result. Right. And I think, I need to.
And and I know what that means. Okay. It's like, if you do this, then you can have this. But what people are buying is the having this, not, they know they're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
But when you're in the buying phase, you need to focus on the, you can have this. You know, I'm going to give you specific workouts that are, and customized workouts that are going to help you to become a Navy SEAL or make it to BUD/S if that's what you want to do. It's like the guy, when I was a freshman in college and I was in ROTC and I wanted to go to airborne school, and one of the senior class, the fourth year guys said, you know, I'll just tell y'all right now, if you really want a slot to airborne school, you're going to get a slot to airborne school. And I remember thinking, yeah, I really want to go. And then I learned what really wanting to go really meant. And it meant getting up every morning at 5:30 and being at the gym at 6 and working out till 7:30 and leaving puddles of sweat on the floor and going, oh dear God, I didn't know I had these muscles. And, you know, it was all that stuff. And then really wanting to go meant about a month into it, when I was ready to quit, saying, I guess this is what he really meant if you really want to go. And it meant showing up one more day, one more morning, one more morning, one more morning. And then it got easier and it got easier. And then, you know, I was maxing the PT test, whereas before, you know, 6 months before, I could barely do 20 push-ups. Right. So you, in your mind, Stu, know that that's what they're going to have to go over. But when you sell, you can't tell them that.
Yeah, I got you.
Tell them in a way that's like, I'm going to show you the workouts you need to do. And if you really want to become a SEAL, these are the workouts you're going to need to do.
Right.
Fair enough.
No, I like that. That's good.
That's fair. It's true.
Yes.
It's
not what it is, it's what it does.
Right. So it's like anything else. So anyway, I mean, I think we've
one more thing.
Sure.
It's also what you do with it. And so as the let's do this officer, right? The chief let's do this officer.
Yes, sir.
You got to get in there and do it too, right? It's really cool when you and I are talking about it, right? But let's get in there, make some changes, you know,
right.
Make sure your sales copy is actually showing people what it does.
Right.
You know, what your product or service will do for them.
Right.
So take it seriously. So not only do you need to show what your project does or your product does, you need to do it yourself.
Right. And that's a really, really good point. Can I share one last thing that's like
Absolutely.
a really good personal example of this? When I first started coming out with my wizards and my scripts and my online scripts and my other stuff, when I was showing it to people, I would spend the majority of my time showing people how you fill out the form, how you answer the questions. And then I would show them, and then it pops out this and this and this and this. So I would spend 80% of my time showing them how to fill out the form and making sure they really understood that. And 20% of my time showing them all the cool stuff that it kicked out. And sales were good. When I flipped that and I showed for only 20% of the time, here's how you fill it out. It's going to ask you questions like, you know, what's your name? Who's your audience? It's going to ask you stuff you can do. Okay. And it'll probably take you 30 minutes to fill this out. Once you do that and you hit the button, let me show you all the cool stuff it kicks out. It creates all your slides. It creates your entire sales letter. It writes all your emails. It writes all your ads. It does all this stuff. And all these things that would have taken you hours and hours and maybe weeks to do, you get this from just a tiny investment of maybe 30 minutes of filling this thing out. This is amazing. When I switched it to that, when I stopped talking about what it was and showed them what it did, literally, my sales went through the roof. And so that's a really good example from my own personal life of when you understand that you're selling what it does, not what it is. You're not selling software. You're selling all the stuff it kicks out on the end. You're not selling coaching. You're selling the benefit of the knowledge. Then your sales are going to massively take off, and people are going to get what they want. So like Stu said, don't just take this on intellectual level and say, oh yeah, that really makes sense. That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. And then go back to trying to sell people what it is. Go make some changes. And that applies to us as well, the two of us.
Yep.
So
I'm going to do that today.
Yeah. So awesome session. You guys need to go join the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks with Jim Edwards Facebook group. It's a closed Facebook group. It's free to join. You need to make sure that you subscribe to the Sales Copywriting and Content Marketing Hacks with Jim Edwards and Stu Smith podcast, of which you've tripped across an episode. Make sure you go and check us out on YouTube, because checking us out on YouTube actually helps us more than subscribing on iTunes. So you should do all of that.
Yeah. iTunes and Google Play if you just want the audio version. Right. A little bit easier on your bandwidth.
There you go. Especially if you're a tornado victim and the suffering out there outside. I feel really bad. Stu's having to endure being outside and trying to operate his whole business on his phone because of tornado damage, not even 100 yards from his house. We're going to be setting up a GoFundMe for him.
It's quite
rebuild. So anyway, all right, guys, great session. Good job, Stu. And we will talk to you guys next time. Hey, this was, what was this? Number
21.
Lucky 21, man. We're old enough to drink.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.